Hello, this is my presentation about the cultural challenge, and I will be researching Kabuki for my Japanese lesson. So I'll start off with my introduction and the history of Kabuki and the Kabuki elements, such as the stage, the roles, and the plays. And I'll end off with my conclusion and the research question. So the introduction. Kabuki is basically a theater form in Japan, and is known for its makeup, its movements, its costumes, and its art pieces, etc. So I chose Kabuki because I really like the Japanese culture, and I saw Kabuki and I looked very interesting for the costumes, and I wanted to research about Kabuki. Yes. So the history of Kabuki can be tracked back into uh, Izumo no Okuni. So she was a shrine maid, so who began to perform with a group of dancers. And however, the name came from the fact that Okuni imitated the costumes and makeup and a new style of art form. So this entertainment began to be called Kabuki. So Kabuki started with female characters. However, it went out of hands because there was a central narrative and a male audience that often got out of control. So Tokugawa Shogunate, which is like the head of the government, banned the woman to perform Kabuki. So after the woman got banned to perform Kabuki, it went from young male actors. And however, the same situation got out of hand. So ever since 1842, they had to change the uh, characters into male, all males. And for both female roles and the actors who played them are called onagata. At the same time, the males are called tachiyaku. So Kabuki is made of Japanese kanji. So from left to right, we can see Kabuki, which is ka means sing, bu means dance, and then ki means skill. So the name was actually derived from a Japanese word called kabuku, meaning to be extraordinary. So Kabuki has developed the direction of the style performance to display the on-stage expressions that goes beyond like hyper-realism, including like costumes, makeup, characters, and props. And other than that, one of the most important person for Kabuki is Chikamatsu Mozaemon. So Chikamatsu Mozaemon, he was very famous because he was a Japanese playwright, and spent like mid part of his career writing Kabuki dramas. And so he is very respected in the Kabuki uh, area, popularizing concepts. So one of his famous plays is called The Love Suicides at Amijima. And nextly, we will look at the Kabuki stage. So Kabuki has mainly 3 stages, and each of them represent their own meaning. So starting off, we have Hanamichi, a flower path. Is basically a walkway which extends to the audience from the entrance and the exit of the actor. And Mawari Butai, so it's the second stage, and it is a revolving stage, which is where people actually perform. And Kakiwari is basically what is known as the painted sceneries and props. As you can look at the picture, the tree behind it is the Kamiwari. Nextly, we have one of the most uh, important part for kabuki is their roles. So we have onagata. So it's basically a male actor who plays has a female role. As I mentioned, the history back in the days, they had to ban female actors to play as female roles. So onagata is the female role, and aragoto is the male role, and then tachiyaku is the brave hero type in some of the plays, and kata katakiyaku means the villain, the bad guy, and koyaku means the children's role. And next we have the types of plays for kabuki. So there's three types of plays in kabuki. One is jidaimono, so it means historical, and it was before Sengoku period stories. So it was, and a major events is in Japanese stories basically. And seiwamono, so it means domestic, and is after the Sengoku period stories. So generally related to themes of like family, drama, and romance. And shosagoto, it's basically the dance pieces in kabuki. So in conclusion, why does kabuki have a long history? So I would say kabuki has had their long history because it's a very old traditional art form, and it's very special where people always want to go. It attracts also a lot of tourism, and for Japanese culture, the tradition is very important. So kabuki will for sure be there for a long time, even though like many old and traditional art forms like Japanese sumo has kept their fans and popularity. But kabuki is not as famous as Japanese sumo, but it still attracts a lot of audience in modern day. And yes, thank you for listening.